How you going, people? Gonna watch him my horse, Mr. T, walk over to Buddy Boy out there. They're out there. Where's that other mule at? I see him somewhere around there. Hell, it's hard to tell. Anyway, this is a gun video, not a horsey video. So let me talk about we're gonna make this a revolution series on rules of engagement, and I might have covered this in another one, but as I'm thinking about it, this kind of goes back into pre-planning. And again, a revolution can be a lot of things. It can be a way to describe a conflict. You know, you've got an enemy, you're fighting a force, or a revolution type situation. When our guys were in Mogadishu, and you know, that was a civil war. It was considered a revolution, but it was called a civil war. Some people called it genocide. So there'll be different names for conflicts, but normally a revolution is you know, a changing of the guard, or people want to bring about change. And you know, and again, one man's revolutionary is another man terrorist. You know, the people in ISIS think they're revolutionaries and they're great patriots or martyrs or whatever, and you know, we think they're terrorists because they're attacking us. And you know, the government thinks that Second Amendment constitutional guys that attack their power are domestic terrorists, even though we think that we're patriots and we're defending our country on what our country was founded on, and that we're being patriots and we're looking out for the country's future, and the government doesn't like that. So they call domestic terrorists anybody that challenges them. So a revolution, when I'm doing these revolutionary series, this is, if you look at what's happening in Ukraine right now, if you look at other genocide or other countries that have been around, it's a conflict, it's battle. And rules of engagement and battle change. The government and governments like to have the Geneva Convention and some sort of rules for combat and war. I always thought that was an oxymoron. If you get on a war with me, I'm fighting to win, and I don't care how I win. You know, this old British style of walking up there with honor and firing your gun and getting shot standing up because you're in line and you're disciplined makes you a gentleman. I don't want to die a gentleman. I'd rather live and fight to win. So, you know, is there rules for conduct? I mean, there's some rules that are just common decency and moral. I mean, do you just want to run and start shooting kids? Well, no. Rules of engagement are you normally don't shoot children. Will I shoot a child? Absolutely. I mean, working in the hoods as a cop and working, a 10-year-old with a gun will kill you just as quick as a 70-year-old with a gun. So, you know, to start putting in that factor of age before you do something will get you killed. Black Hawk Down, I talk about, I think it was one of the best movies around that really shows, if you're looking at it from a tactical issues and plans going to shit and how things can go wrong and how quickly things change. I mean, they just had a lot of lessons. I remember one scene in Black Hawk Down where the father and a little boy was trying to kill one of the Rangers. And the son ends up shooting his dad and then runs over to help his dad. But 10 seconds before that, he had a gun and he was shooting at the Ranger. And the Ranger didn't kill him. Now, that was probably Hollywood. Maybe it was morally wrong. If a kid picks up a gun on me, I don't care if he lays it down or not. If you try to kill me or my people, I'm killing you. And I don't want to hear this bang, 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 I'm going to kill as much as you want, and then I'm going to drop my gun. Now, in law enforcement, when we have rules of law and use of force, then you wouldn't be able to shoot a guy that's unarmed if he dropped his gun. Okay, and in a combat, in a life and death, in a conflict of war, in a revolution where people are dying, I mean, you need to modify what you're willing to do. Now, some people are going to say, oh, I'd never kill a kid, and I just couldn't do that. And well, then you know what? Then maybe a kid will kill you, and that'll take care of you. But I don't really care if you're a woman, a child, disabled, transgender, gay, bisexual, homo. I don't care. If you have a gun and you're trying to kill me or people on my side that are defending me, then you might as well be a dead guy, because I'm going to do everything I can to kill you. So, In a Revolutionary Series, what are the rules of engagements going to be? Is there going to be rules? In a genocide in Africa, which happens a lot, and if you blood diamonds, where they were, robbing the country of all the diamonds, mainly Africans robbing from other Africans and killing Africans and cutting off hands. If you didn't pick in the field, they would cut your hands off. If you got caught stealing in the field, they would cut your hands off. So there was a lot of people running around with no hands. And the reason why they cut your hands off, you can't fight them, you can't come back and hurt them, you can't feed yourself. Now, if you're going to live, people are going to have to take care of you. So it's a very effective strategy to take out your enemy or people that are against you by cutting off the hands of men. So now the women can't even pick up arms to fight you because they're taking care of the men. You can't defend your wife and kids, so we can come in and rape, pillage, or do whatever. We can take your kid, we can take the fruits of your labor, we can take anything from you because you don't have any hands to fight us. Now, is that considered overuse of force, unjustified force, unreasonable force? In a law enforcement or society things, that probably would be. In a civil war, where people are fighting against clans, the Shiites, the Muslims are fighting against this thing, and they're fighting, and this tribe's fighting against this tribe, and this clan's against this clan, or the South is against the North, as in our country. Things change, and you need to fight to win. Anybody that fights to break even, I mean, I'm just not getting in a fight and risking getting hurt, injured, or killed in the hopes of breaking even. If I get in a fight, I want to take you out as quick and as easy and as painless as I can, and to where you can do the least amount of damage to me or my people who are protecting me, part of my cause, etc. So, what are rules of engagement? Right now, our rules of engagement overseas under this freaking treasonous president is just horrible. Our guys aren't even allowed to have ammo. They have to keep it in the back of the car. They can't have it in a gun. If it's in a gun, you can't have one in the chamber. You can't take your gun off safety without permission from the sergeant who has to get it from the lieutenant who has to get it from the command structure and run up to the 3-star general and say, okay, he can shoot. And by that time, it's too damn late. So tying your hands in a conflict is a good way to lose, get your ass killed, and to demoralize your troops. Nobody wants to fight and just lose all the time and where you can't fight back and restraint. Again, the movie The Black Hawk Down. They were told rules of engagement were, it doesn't matter if people have guns and it doesn't matter if they're shooting and killing everybody, unless they shoot at you, you can't return fire. Now, look, I'm a pretty reasonable guy. But if I'm in charge of my fire team or my squad or my company, whatever I'm after, and I'm running it, and somebody's got a gun and they're shooting, we're going to shoot and kill them. Okay, you're either on our side or you're against us. So, in the Ranger movie, and again, this is probably a little bit of movie, but it happens, and I've talked to enough guys, if they're shooting in your general direction or you just get a ricochet or something, you can't necessarily return fire. You have to really be able to justify that they are aiming at you and justify that they're trying to kill you before you can return fire. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. But whatever. That's rules of engagement. So understanding how that, and cops have rules of engagement. We can't shoot you unless we see a gun. We can't shoot you unless we're in fear of our life. We have to only shoot if we're defending ourselves or someone else from serious bodily injury and or death. So those are our rules of engagement. Now, is it flexible? Is there certain things? Sure. Is it at night? Are you outnumbered? What do you know? Is a person wanted for a violent felony or is he wanted for a traffic ticket? So there's all these other factors that you have to consider in when you're doing this. Well, and the more complicated you make that decision process, the more you hinder, hamper, and dumb down your fighting force to where you delay them, you cause them to lose, you put them in more harm's way and danger. So, what are good rules of engagement? Okay? My rules of engagements are... I don't know if we get some heat here. But you know what? Targets of opportunity. Period. If you see the enemy and you can get him, then get him. Done. Simple, easy, to the point, destroy the enemy. I don't want to hear any excuses, justifications, if and buts, coconuts. If you can get it, you take targets opportunity. Now, is there times that in rules of engagement or conflict You don't want to take targets of opportunity. Sure, if I'm moving in a small and I have a specific mission to get in somewhere to accomplish a goal and get out, then I don't want to be engaging targets as I see them, because it's going to hinder my mission and it's going to give away my position. And I don't want to do that, because if I get in a firefight with you, I may get hurt, I may lose people, I may have to think, and then I lose focus of the mission. So mission requirements can change your rules of engagement. But having a carte blanche, look, you don't need any justification to shoot. You don't have to ask anybody permission. If you see the enemy and you can engage them and you think it's in your best interest to engage them and take them out, then you do it. You're there, you see it, you have the information, you make the decision on the scene. You don't have to get permission, call, and all this other crap. So in a revolution, and I'm watching Ukraine, they had a video on Netflix on Ukraine where they're fighting, and they're really in some serious civil war there. They're fighting against their own people. Their military and cops are fighting against the people, and the people are fighting against the government, which is the military and the cops, which has happened in almost all revolutions. The military and the police get together because they're government, and they shit on the people. And it's much easier to do that when the people are unarmed and they can't have weapons, because then the government can just squash them and smash them and claim victory and say how great and wonderful we are, and there's no point in resisting because we're just going to stomp you. And that's what government's ideally goal is, what they like. Unquestioned, uncontrolled power. You do what we tell you, and we don't want to be held accountable, and we don't want to have to listen to you peons, and we just want the fruits of your labor. You go out there, work, produce, we can take taxes, or we'll have you work for us, and we'll give you a little bit back. But you know what? You people need to shut up, because government is smarter, better, and understands. And that's just the way government works. It's standard anywhere you go, any government, any person in charge, any, dictator, whatever you want to call them, king, however, when they're in charge, they don't want to be questioned. They don't want to have to adjust themselves to the peons, and they want to have the supreme power, and they want to take that power away from the people that produce and that they rule over. Remember, you can't be a ruler if you have nobody to rule over. Okay, a king can't be a king of an area if everybody in the country hates him and is trying to kill him. So what does he do? He gets people around him that he can give benefits to. He arms them. He creates a military. He creates a police force to protect him and the people close to him. Therefore, it's beneficial to people be close to him, so his power grows, his control and influence grows. Meanwhile, the people's control, influence, and power shrinks, and then we try to disarm them, take away weapons, we make rules, we make regulations, and we get them to where they can't defend themselves or fight back on us, even if they want to, even if we're wrong, and even if we do whatever the hell we want. It's much better to have people that can't fight back, or people that we can just stomp on very easily because we're the only one with the weapons, which is the big gun control thing forever. Nobody's going to admit it. They're going to scare people and tell you it's about safety, and we're going to protect you, and you should trust us, and we're going to keep you safe. And anybody that believes that somebody else with a gun, me with a gun, is more dangerous than your government, who has all this power to use that gun, lock you up, put you in jail, take your money, seize your property. They have all this power, and somehow giving them the gun and taking it away from somebody like me is going to help you? Well, you're a freaking idiot. So, I'm not talking to you anyway. You're probably not watching unless you're here to do a liberal drive-by and give me some liberal tears. So, in rules of engagement and revolution, has got to be a kind of a forethought that people need to discuss and understand. What are the rules of engagement? To me, the rules of engagement is you take out the enemy and target opportunity when you see them, when you can, and that's how you become effective. If I have 50 people out there and only 40 of them come across the enemy and they take out one, that's great. If I have 50 people out there and they have to get permission to take out the enemy, and they have target opportunity and they have to call and get permission, then that's not good. If I have 50 people out there and they don't know what to do and they're waiting to ask or be told what to do, then those are 50 enemy that got away that maybe we could have stopped and got rid of. So who's the enemy? All right, let's say China takes over our government, and now we're fighting a government taken over by the Chinese. Well, then the rules of engagement should be, anytime you see a government official, a Chinese official, somebody that supports or works for the government, they are a target opportunity, and they're taking out. And that way you disrupt your enemy's ability to do what they want to do. Because the enemy is going to be trying to disarm the public, round up the rabble-rousers, take out the leadership, only keep the sheep to where they can control them. Gather up the people, remove the weapons. That's what any governing power is going to try to do. Same way the enemy is going to do to a government. And China, if they want to go against the government, the people would be, there's so many people, I mean, they could easily take over the government. They just won't, because most of them are sheep and they've learned not to. But they could easily take over government if they traveled around in three-man groups, and every time they saw a government official, they attacked him. And they beat him, and they took his weapon, and now they got stronger, and they took a weapon away from the government. And pretty soon the government gets in their mind that, you know what, we can't send our people out. We got to send them out in groups of 20. Then you know what? Then the enemy modifies, and the people say, we're going to travel in groups of 40 or 60 or 100. And when we see these groups, we're going to attack them, and we're going to get close, and we're going to find ways to get to them before they can use their guns. Or we're going to sabotage their vehicles, or we're going to sabotage the buildings. We're going to burn their buildings and vehicles when we get a chance. We're going to make it so hard for the government to operate, and because the Chinese have so many people, even if we lose 1,000 a day, we're still going to outnumber the government by hundreds and millions. So, I mean, I don't know how many Chinese there are. I haven't done my research to give you a good stat. But, you know, there's 330 million people in the U.S., probably more. Most of them, you know, the numbers are so skewed because for 30 years now they've been saying there's only 11 million illegals here. But yet they've been coming in by the thousands every freaking day for, you know, 20 years, and somehow that number never grows, and the idiots are out there, oh, it's only 11 million, let's just make them citizens and everything will be happy. Freaking idiots. So, look, there's 330 million people. The government, I'm going to say with all government together, I'm saying the max they're probably going to have is maybe 30 to 50 million. And that's probably high. But if you take all government workers in local, county, state, federal government workers in the U.S., you're probably looking at 30 to 50 million people. I don't know if there's a stat. If there is, somebody put in the comments. I'd like to know, but government's pretty freaking big, and it's a huge, hell, it may even be close to 100 million. You know, maybe even half the freaking people working may work for the government in some capacity, so it may be 200 million. I don't know. But if there was a conflict between government and people, it would be the same as if there was in China. The people would have to be able to disrupt government, stop them, stop their transport, stop them to do the business. And in the U.S., a big thing is the courts. When the courts go down, they have to declare martial law. They bring in the military. And that's one of the few exceptions when they're supposed to only use martial law, even though they use it anytime they want. But normally, if the courts are about to go down, law and order falls, and local governments can't handle it, that's when the feds send in their force, and they take over, declare martial law, send in the military, do all their shit. Well, we don't have enough military to take over every city. If the shit that's happening in Ferguson or Oakland, wherever you want to pick, wherever the Africans are rioting this week, if every city had the same amount of riots, guess what? We don't have enough people to send a military to every major city in the U.S. We just don't have it. So, would that be an effective tool to make government ineffective? Absolutely it would. Then government would have to pick higher resources that we want to secure. Which cities do we want to keep? Which ones are the easiest to control? Which ones are we willing to let burn? Just like the government does now. Ferguson, let the city burn for a few days. Let them burn down everything and don't do anything. And then bring in people and let them calm down. You know, they can do that. I mean, but again, people who are always burning businesses, I don't get. They're attacking, a bird just flew by with a shot. They're attacking businesses instead of attacking government. Government's making the rules, government's doing all the problems, and government's never... When's the last time a government building was burned? I guarantee you, when government buildings start getting burned, busted, and knocked down, that's when law enforcement will move in and stop it. Why aren't they doing it now, Rick? Because they're burning the stupid sheep in the buildings and they don't care, and it doesn't affect government. Remember, to bring about change, you have to affect it. Now, the definition of terrorism is using force or violence or fear of force or violence or threats to bring around political change. So that pretty much encompasses anybody that goes against the government can fall under a terrorist. And that's great for government, because now we can use our power to arrest you, put you in prison, take away your freedoms, remove you from inciting other people to join together, and now we can control the sheep better because there's no leaders. Remember the old saying in the military, I would rather fight an army of lions led by one sheep than fight an army of sheep led by a line. Because if you have somebody in control who's an aggressive meat eater, who's going to lead you with aggressiveness and predator type behavior, you're going to do a lot better job than if you have the best fighting force in the world and you have a pink panty pussy ass Obama leading them. So, you know, the military, we have the strongest military in the world, but we're led by a freaking sheep. So it doesn't matter how strong they are. It's very easy to see how that saying got to be said. Strong, good armies are only effective if they have strong, good leadership that allows them to be strong and effective. If you have a strong army and you have a weak-ass leader who holds them back and don't let them be effective, then what's the point of having a good, strong army? It defeats it. So, in a revolutionary type situation, the people, like Ukraine is doing, and they're fighting more on the government terms. When I was watching that essay they did, or the documentary on them, they were more responding when the government came in. They kind of responded and fought back. They were not being aggressive. There was no forethought saying, hey, patriots, if shit hits a fan and it goes down, everybody needs to know that we need to attack the government, whoever they're fighting, whether it's the Russian government, whatever their issues is, they need to attack them on all angles every day. It targets opportunity and stop their ability to do business. If they don't have a building to do their planning for their riot control, then they're less effective. If they don't have a cafeteria to eat and feed their people to do their riot control, they're less effective. If they don't have the ability to move ammo to their people because their roads are getting hit and sniped and they can't go out without a bunch of people, then you're affecting their ability to do their job. And that's what rules of engagement in a revolutionary type situation is all about. Your job, any enemy, any conflict, you want to make it harder for the enemy to accomplish their missions. They want to make it harder for you to accomplish your missions. So, when you start doing this and you start hitting them on several different fronts, their transportation, their food, their ammo, their resupply, you take out their airport, you take out the airport, you take out their federal buildings, you take out, when you hit them at all these angles, every day, everybody is hitting them at a target of opportunity. You take out their ability to plan, to meet, to travel in safety, to get food, to be comfortable. All those things are normal combat fighting things. You want to make your enemy as uncomfortable, out of place, ineffective, stop their ability to accomplish their mission, and you do that by having a strong force that is constantly pounding them, that's constantly keeping them off balance, that's sniping from a distance, that's sabotaging vehicles, that are burning down their buildings. You make it to where they can't relax, they can't do things. So, what are the rules of engagement in a revolution type situation? If there was some sort of conflict here, nuclear bomb, China takes out our thing, they take over the government, that movie out, damn liberal theft, they're going to make that movie Lone Survivor. I ain't even watching it. Is that a liberal damn agenda? They're going to make it out to be some domestic patriot that's done this, and they're going to make everybody think it's the Muslims, and they're going to make the Muslims look great, and they're going to make them look like, oh, they're being blamed, and it's not their fault, and they're going to make the generals look like they're all war hungry, and they're going to make all meat-eater men who want to defend the country look like shit, and they're going to make all the other poor people victims. I don't even have to watch the movie. I didn't watch one episode. I saw the previews, and I knew it was coming from freaking the left damn Hollywood shit, and I knew they'd be pushing that liberal agenda. So I can guarantee you, I don't know shit about the movie. I didn't watch it, but I can guarantee you from the previews that I've seen, it's gonna be some crazy white dude with a gun, Second Amendment constitutional guy. That's gonna be the bad guy. And there's gonna be great women that are gonna make good decisions. There's gonna be great men who are more tolerant and accepting. The military is gonna be made to look like the aggressive assholes. The blame. I can just see the liberal shit all over that movie. I ain't watching. I ain't got nothing to do with it. So anyway, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it'll be a great movie. Go ahead, watch it. I don't care. So. But again, rules of engagement. When they took out, in that movie, they took out Congress and they took out the whole force. That's a great move. If North Korea or China took out our Capitol and Congress and all our politicians, after I had a drink and was happy and running around saying yee-haw, I would be like, wow, now what? Who's gonna, and I don't know how they're gonna do it in the movie and stuff, but
That's how you take out what's called command and control. When you take out the people who are running and causing a problem, you give the people the ability to get people who are doing a better job in. And the American people can't get rid of Congress. For some reason, they just want to re-elect the same freaking people. We don't have any damn, term limits or nothing. And they stay in there freaking ever, and because everybody's for their team. I'm for the right, I'm for the left, I'm for the Dems, I'm for the Republicans. I don't really care. I just don't want the other one to win. We elect the same damn assholes over and over, and we ain't fixing nothing. So without term limits getting those people out of there, ain't nothing going to change. And the country's going so downhill fast, they don't care. They're making money getting rich. And who cares if the country fails? They're going to have money. They'll move to, some other country and live high on the hog. And I just saw some dude on American Greed. He's in Switzerland now, and he's living high on the hog. And he ripped off millions and millions of people here and their retirements. And now he moved to Switzerland, and because he's a Swiss citizen, they won't bring him back, and he's living high on the hog. That's exactly what our politicians are going to do if the shit is fanned and somebody does. Remember, when your government gets out of control because the people don't control it, another government will put them back in control. The German people let Hitler get out of control, and it took other countries and other governments to put him back in control. But it cost them a huge price. They had to fight their own people, they had to fight their own government, and they had other people bombing, their cities were destroyed. It was a huge price, and you know what? Who's to blame? All the idiots who were cheering and voting for Hitler. And when this country fails, all the idiots that were cheering and hoping for Obama and change and the liberal left disease agenda, and the Hillary Clinton fans and the third bathroom fans, and the putting a gay guy in charge of our military because that'll be good for diverse. All that shit, when this country fails, and I absolutely believe it's going to fail. I'm kind of surprised it ain't failed already. When it fails, it's going to be all those people that voted for that shit. And the country, everybody's going to have to pay. Unfortunately, the people who are speaking out and trying to stop it, we're going to have to pay the same price. So you can either be prepared and be able to ride the storm out, or you can hang around with the idiots that are causing this and maybe saying, well, if the government fails, then maybe the new government will come and save me and take care of me. Well, then you're an idiot, and this whole video has been pointless anyway. All right, so that's my rules of engagement speech. Good, bad, and different. Hopefully you got something out of it. We'll end that there.